What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. Hope that everybody is enjoying their Monday. So let's get into this Real Housewives of Potomac recap. So I am excited about season 10. It opens up with Karen Huger, the Grand Dame herself, is back with us. She is out of prison. The cameras were there. The car comes and picks her up. They ask if she's okay, and she asks for a tissue. And I get it. I mean, I can only imagine how she felt, and um, just being overwhelmed by all the cameras being there, and just missing out on this season. I'm sure that this show means a lot to Karen and just all of her friends, her family. So 2 days after Karen's sentencing on March 1st, the ladies all meet at Giselle's house. And it's actually, it's come together quite nicely. So she has, all the ladies there, and she's talking about her own need for a little sip, a little liquor, okay? Um, but we didn't see, at least I don't think I saw her drink any, but it doesn't matter because she's at home. But they go back to the months before she got sentenced, and you know, Giselle was saying in her confessional that does she want Karen in jail? She's like, absolutely not. But she also doesn't want another DUI, right? Because that one could be, fatal for not only Karen, but for somebody else. So the ladies, all come and meet up, and the black and white theme is, it's nice. It's Giselle. One thing they said though is they wake up in the morning, and oftentimes, one of their first thoughts when Ashley and Giselle are talking is, Karen is waking up in jail, and my thing is she's not just waking up in jail; she's waking up in prison, federal prison to be exact, or no, state prison, I believe. Um, but either way, it's not just a jail sentence. So um, Ashley said that she got together with Stacy to try to clear the air. And I feel like we're never going to get to the bottom of what really happened with Stacy and TJ. Stacy is somebody who, on one hand, she says that she wants, like, her affairs private because TJ was a mess. I mean, he embarrassed her all up and down the Real Housewives of Potomac. He told Eddie, they show, when he's saying that Stacy was paying him to be her love interest, but at the same time, he kept saying, that he didn't want to sleep with her. And Ashley's like, do I think that she would really do that? Lie. And they're like, yeah. Like, yeah. Um, Ashley spent this whole episode, and I'm thinking that probably the whole season, most of her time on this show, to be honest, has been her deflecting from what was going on with her life, with her husband, now, ex-husband after all these years. But her and Giselle definitely have that in common, right? They're so interested in what's going on with other people's lives and other people's mess and other people's husbands. Because if you hold up a magnifying glass to them, child, not even a magnifying glass, right? Just open your eyes. You will see that with Giselle's situation with, Jamal, he, like she said herself, he was a cheater, pumpkin eater. And we saw with our own eyes Michael Darby just being completely inappropriate and all kind of handsy with cameramen, and, him having an infatuation with Juan Dixon. Like Robin said, I'm so glad that Juan Dixon is not here right now. But it was just, a mess. So they use that as a deflection. So the rest of the ladies get to Giselle's house, and one thing I can agree with Dr. Wendy is she says that, one of the worst parts about Karen being taken away was that it was so instant. Like she didn't get a chance to say, her final goodbyes before they took her directly from the courthouse to into custody, like that same day. And so, they're breaking down what it really means to be in jail. Like you have to take a shower with other people, you can't wear your own clothes, you can't have any type of like freedom over your own time. It's just, it really is like just horrific to even think about. So, but then Giselle says, she wants everybody to be honest. This was her fourth DUI, and she's like, I don't want there to be a fifth one. At some point, there has to be accountability. And I mean, and she's right, this isn't, like Karen's first or second offense, and this isn't somebody who is, you know, in their teens or 20s, So I get it. And then they were talking about Karen said that she was Thomas Jefferson's concubine. I feel like that's going to stick a lot more than the Grand Dame. Because that was funny. If nothing else, Karen is funny. Even when she doesn't intend on being funny, that was funny. And so they, of course, they bring up the initials TJ, and then the conversation turns to Stacy again. I feel like Stacy is just, she gets whacked a lot. Like you would think that as private as Giselle and Ashley are about the men in their lives, that they would not be so antagonistic. But maybe that is why, right? That they're so antagonistic because they're so insecure about their own relationships. But they are just continuously talking about, TJ and what he said. And Stacey says, something awful happened to me. And they're like, what happened? Everyone's like, what? She's like, the fact that he disparaged my character on TV. I mean, she didn't say that, she said it was, he said that he paid or she paid him to be in a relationship. She's like, that was devastating. So they're calling each other liars. At this point, 10 seasons in, with Potomac and like 16 seasons in with Atlanta, upcoming 17th season, I feel like everybody on these shows lie. Like maybe not in the earlier seasons, where like the ladies were introduced to all of us way back when, like right after Desperate Housewives left ABC. But I'm like, at this point, I just, I feel like I feel like the only people that aren't lying on this show is Karen, you know, um, and, Wendy, Dr. Wendy. I don't think Angels, and the new girls, they don't have anything to lie about. But I feel like everybody else, child, they exaggerate the truth every now and then. Because Stacy is fighting for her life. Oh my gosh. I don't know if she's going to last another season on here. I mean, I know her initial season, she said, still I rise, like Dr. Maya Angelou, but not when she windmilling everybody, honey. That's a mess. And Kay, I think that she's still hurt from what happened last season with that fight. And because she is going up against, Stacy, she's antagonizing Wendy. She is coming from a place where I feel like she feels really hurt and really vulnerable. And Stacy is giving us some good one-liners. She says she's not the first or the last to be hurt by a man. And Giselle's like, what? And she's like, you haven't been hurt by a man. And of course, Giselle doesn't answer questions. She doesn't ever, talk about the men in her life. Not with any real substance, especially, with Jamal Bryant. So she just, again, deflects from Stacy. But Stacy walks out. She walks out is probably about as much as Portia did on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. She turns, she grabs her purse, and she walks out of the door. So, listen, they were talking about when Stacy was at the Essence luncheon, that somebody came, a friend of TJ's, and she came with receipts. So TJ was a stunt queen, though. I feel like, if this person really was a friend of TJ's, I don't know if they wanted some camera time or some clout or whatever, but he was just a clout chaser that whole season. And so I don't know if he's upset that he's no longer on TV or what, but Giselle said she was trying to take a picture of the legal document. Um, she said she couldn't get it all, but I feel like, yeah, he's a stunt queen. And it was unnecessary. Like, live your life, sir. Like, let Stacey live hers, continue to be on the show. But at this point, he's not on the show anymore, and they're dragging a dead horse. So, um, yeah, bye, TJ. So the next scene, they say May 1st, 2 months later, um, Wendy wants to remodel her house. So she wants marble from top to bottom. She wants a brand new kitchen island. Her house is gorgeous, right? But she says, let's use this money from Happy Eddie. Happy Eddie is doing really well. It's profitable. So she wants to remodel the kitchen. So Giselle's on a date with her friend. They're at lunch, and she's talking about her titties being out. Giselle's a mess. And so Ashley is, going through things. She's donating. She is designing her new event. She's going to have a full bloom party, celebrate her divorce. So she's giving away the, old stuff that says bride on it. And she is, doing some spring cleaning, which that's healthy. You know what I mean? You want to get rid of the old and usher in the new. So that is how you do it. So we see Stacey pull up, and she has on a gorgeous dress, by the way. She pulls up to a restaurant, and she's on a date with her husband. They kiss. He says that she looks really pretty, which she does. She looks gorgeous in that dress. And she says, that they're making googly eyes at each other. So I don't know what's, the caption says that it's Stacey's ex-husband. They're going back and forth and, just talking about how they are going to try to make this work the second time around. Listen, my mom's oldest sister, my aunt, she passed a while back, but she did get divorced from her first love. And then they got remarried. People get remarried all the time, to people that they divorced. Matter of fact, I just saw J-Lo and Ben Affleck at her premiere, The Kiss of the Spider Woman, today. And they were both married and divorced twice. So, and he was still there by her side, with his hand around her man, relationships are messy. They really truly are. They are messy. So he's ordering for, both of them. After she gets a rosé, he gets a beer. But, she said that she's willing to give it another try, and hopefully they will. She said that they didn't prioritize their relationship, but they need to focus on them and not just their daughter, Bella. So, which is, you do have to put work in a relationship for it to be successful. So, I don't know where he's from. He has an accent, so I don't know if that's a European accent or what. But I feel like, if they're willing to, of course, put the work in and make each other happy, then I'm absolutely here for it. You don't want to just prioritize Bella. You want to make sure that you both are happy and you're having your needs met and you're having, whatever communication styles are clear, right? But if they're both willing to give it another try, then I'm here for it, especially since we can move on from TJ. Hopefully they don't continue to bring him up throughout this entire season because, like I said, it's a dead horse at this point. I don't know why he is still talking, sending friends or, to provide, receipts and all this other stuff. Let's just say hypothetically that Stacy did, you know, um, supposedly hire this man to be her love interest or whatever. Like, people hire actresses and actors all the time. They said the same thing with Kenya and Walter, and she got out of that real quick. Um, and to be honest, I feel like if you're gonna hire somebody, at least make that person or allow that person to, make them sign an NDA so they're not on here dogging your life. And hopefully they'll be attractive, because Walter was not half as good looking as Kenya, in my opinion. Kenya is flawless, a beauty queen. TJ, on the other hand, he was attractive, but he was just a pain. Like, he was annoying. Like, girl, he was not worth the headache, in my opinion. In my opinion. But she's here, with her husband, ex-husband. They're willing to try again. I'm rooting for them. So then we are at Kiana's new condo, and her mom is there, and it's really nice. I'm really glad to see that, like I said, she is moving forward. She has all these pictures. Her and Giselle both, they have like all these pictures, these blown pictures of themselves around their house. Her mom says that she's vain. It's a lot to take in, but it's a cute picture. So in her bedroom. But yeah, her condo is really nice. They show scenes with Greg, and they said that he doesn't like to be filmed, and she was talking about him, being dismissive. He's like, I don't dismiss it all. He was defensive, and he absolutely was dismissive. What I realized too? I realized that it takes a certain level of self-awareness and emotional maturity that a lot of people don't have to see their flaws and their weaknesses. If somebody cares enough about you to tell you that, what you're doing, XYZ bothers me, then at least take a few seconds to maybe ask them a follow-up question. Like, can you give me an example? Or, is there a way I can communicate it to you that is better for you? Or, you know what I mean? Like, just some kind of questions that aren't as dismissive. Well, I don't dismiss it all. I'm not this at all. Obviously you are, or she wouldn't have brought it up, Because when people stop bringing things up to you, and they stop, giving you any type of feedback or anything like that, the relationship's is on its way out the door. Because at that point, if you've shut down any type of constructive criticism, then that shows you're not willing to grow. So I think it takes like a highly emotionally intelligent individual to be willing and open to receive positive, constructive feedback. Not everybody can do that. They don't have the capacity, and I'm learning that. So, she was talking about how her and Greg, had really bad arguments. He's not where she is emotionally, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, not everybody is for you. Not everybody can be the partner that you need them to be at the same time, in your life, on your journey. So sometimes you just have to let people, do what they do. Let them go. Let them grow on their own. Because Greg got on my nerves. Like, not everybody can be, an Eddie, happy Eddie, right? But no, Eddie is a good man. He's a good man, Savannah. You got a good one, Wendy. I'll tell you that. Because the rest of these men are just, not all of them, obviously, but quite a few on here are just irritating. So, moving on, we have, speaking of Eddie and Wendy, we have them in their house, and they are discussing, they're with their kids, but they are discussing, Eddie's business is expanding to New Jersey. So congratulations to the Osefo family for that. And, they're dealing they have what, 3 kids? Carter, 12. Okay. and then the little girl and the other boy. So yeah, Happy Eddie is he's in the cannabis field, and the financial success has allowed them to be more selective, she says, in the projects that they take. And I'm like, I know that's right. One thing I can say about Wendy and Eddie, right? They're very strategic in the things that they choose to do. And so, he's explaining to his kids about the benefits of entrepreneurship and expanding the business, and about, when you put your mind to something, you can grow your business. And so they asked the girl what she wants to be, and she says a doctor. And Wendy high fives her, and her son's like, "Well, you're not a real doctor." And she's like, "Yes, she is." Wendy has a PhD. That's very much a real doctor. And the gag is that the doctorate of philosophy, a PhD, right? They were called doctors before the physicians and the medical doctors. That's something I learned in history, but people kill me with that. But anyway, they're just babies, and they're cute too. But yeah, that's what I would have said if I was Wendy. Like, well, since you asked, the PhDs, the doctorate of philosophy, they were the ones who were called the doctors first. Anyway, so Carter brings up Chick-fil-A because they asked the kids what they want to do. And he said Chick-fil-A would not be a good salary. And he said, go get my suitcase, Chick-fil-A. I mean, he could have been, like a franchise owner or something, but I already know that Eddie and Wendy are not going to go for him working for anybody but himself. Or if he does, like, with Wendy, she teaches at John Hopkins. So Ashley, she goes to a boutique, and she is meeting Stacy there. And one thing I notice about Ashley, even more so now than earlier seasons, is she likes to provoke certain people. Like, she's very I don't know, she's a provocateur. Like, she's really antagonistic with Stacy. But she doesn't do that to, like, Giselle, or she didn't do that to Robin. It's only certain people that she'll or Karen. She won't even do that with Karen, but she was like that with Candace. She was like that with Monique. She was like that with Stacy. And I don't want to say it's a colorism issue. I really don't. Because she's not like that with Charisse either. Even though I know Charisse is rarely ever there, but she is very just antagonistic and to Stacy, and it's annoying. Because she tells the boutique owner, like, "Oh, I have a friend meeting me. She's like a model." She's like, "Of course." So she picks out a dress, and then boom, just like she goes for the jugular. Like, she gives her a hug, and um, after she says, Stacy comes in, and she's looking for something to wear. Um, and I noticed too, like, even after the scene, like, she doesn't offer the ladies anything to drink until after Stacy leaves. Just subtle stuff like that is just it's unnerving sometimes. But she's picking out, you know, dresses for her second bloom party, and she says that she's not Ashley. It didn't take her 10 years to get divorced during her confessional. Okay, so Ashley asks her to talk, and boom, just goes for, you know, she just goes for Stacy. So Stacy says that she wants to make sure that Ashley knew why she left, and Ashley counters with, well, she was at a Hollywood luncheon, and she said that there was an actress there, and she says, the actress wants to talk with her, and then she showed her screenshots and legal documents about her, Stacy being a defendant, and that TJ is the plaintiff in court. And I'm just like, Ashley, girl, Like I said, let's say that she did go to court. Like, what in the Inspector Gadget? Why are you why are you inviting her out to look at dresses for your event, and you're over here talking about somebody sent you some legal documents? Like, Ashley, like, I just feel like she blindsides people. As much as she says that she doesn't like liars, Ashley's very deceitful. That's what it is. Um, and I don't like that, right? Like, Stacey came there to support her. You know, she came to film with her. I know they have a job to do, and I know it has to be some drama, but Ashley has been talking about this TJ thing for, it's been 84 years. I feel like the old lady on the Titanic. Like, girl, at some point we're gonna have to wrap it up, because see, Stacey's I tell you, she's too nice for me, because I'll be like, listen, I'm here trying to support you at your raggedy divorce party because your husband, who looked like Gotham, couldn't keep his hands to himself, and he's over here groping cameramen just trying to do their job. Now check that. Like, go have somebody inspect that. Like, she's taking it to the archives. Like, well, you could look up my name and I'm divorced, and why did I look up your name and you're not divorced? Like, so you're really on the World Wide Web checking official sites to see if this girl is divorced or not. Ashley, I need her to take some of that money that she got from this from this divorce settlement, and after she throws this second bloom party, I really truly need her to find something to do, not sit on the internet and look up people's divorce record. Like seriously. Like, I would be like, do you know how pathetic you have to be to look up somebody's divorce records? Like, just because somebody can find yours, okay, it's public record. I get that in the state of Maryland, or the state of Virginia, that's fine. But the way that I would not spend a nanosecond of my life looking up somebody's divorce records, that is giving bitter, is giving miserable. Like, Ashley is too young to still be at home wallowing in whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's throwing this party, I guess, to celebrate her divorce. But to be honest, it doesn't feel like she's happy about being divorced. And so she is just really bitter. And the clerk behind the desk is drinking, she's drinking wine and watching Stacey and Ashley bicker back and forth about her marriage and about her divorce. And Stacey's right. She's like, in her confessional, she's like, if we're supposed to be friends, why wouldn't she ask me to my face? Like, why would you invite her to a boutique to argue? That doesn't make any sense. Like, that is lame to me. It's weird. It's classless. And that's exactly what I would tell Ashley. She is lame, she is weird, and she is classless. Why are you spending your time, instead of raising your sons, or, trying to find a hobby or something else better to do with your time, to look up my divorce records? And she did, essentially. I mean, she said it in a classy way, but y'all don't be telling Ashley off enough for me. The only person who did was Candace, and Monique, but Candace mostly, now she's gone. I hope when Monique comes back, Monique Samuels, I know she's a friend of the show. And see, that's another thing. I don't like that the boutique owner only brought out the wine after Stacey left. Stuff like that bothers me. You know what I mean? Like, it does. It bothers me. Ashley invited her there just to confront her, just to argue. Like, she didn't care anything about those dresses. And that's tacky and classless, because we could argue at the house, your house or mine. You could pick one, but don't bring me on public. And then the boutique owner brings her wine only after Stacey left. Like, miss me with that. All right, so moving on. Now that Giselle is an empty nester, she says that she really enjoys walking around naked, which I don't blame her, right? Because her house is finally done, and her girls are in college, and so she's walking around a free spirit. She says she's living the dream, living the dream. Her bedroom, oh, her bedroom and those pillows are just, they look like little disco balls. Like Giselle is so tacky. Like she is just, bless her little tacky heart. And the gag is like she's a Creole woman from Louisiana. You know who else is a Creole woman from Louisiana? Beyonce Giselle. They both have the same Beyonce's middle name. But Beyonce Giselle knows Carter. And I guarantee you, well, I can't even guarantee you because she just had a whole Renaissance tour. I was gonna say I can guarantee you that she wouldn't have little disco ball shimmery pillows on her bed, but who knows? Maybe it's a Louisiana thing. I don't know. Maybe it's a Creole thing. I don't know. But I mean, her little pillows aren't just silver. They're silver with a pink comforter and a and her dresser is like black and gold, and it's just, that's Giselle, right? It's it's a lot going on. So anyway, and her table, her end table by her bed is green. I mean, I understand that she's an AKA and all, but okay, moving on. So Ashley calls Giselle, speaking of, she says that, Stacy is denying everything. She's denying the imaginary document. And Giselle's like, okay, well, what she's not going to do is call us liars. You absolutely are. Both Ashley and Giselle. You ask them anything about the men in their life, and they will look at you dead in your face and either lie, deflect, try to flip it, put that thing down, flip it, and reverse it. Shout out to Missy Elliott, and put it back on you. But they will not be truthful about the men in their lives because the men that they have married and divorced were not good husbands to either of them. But you'll never hear them say it. We know it. Everybody else says it. But instead of focusing on that or going out and getting new men, they focus on Stacy's. Yep. So moving on, speaking of a good man, we have Angel and Bobby. So they are the new couple on the show. Bobby is retired from football. He played for the Denver Broncos. Um, and so Kay is over there at their house. She says that her and Angel have been friends for a very long time. And I'm glad, actually, I'm glad that Kay has somebody on this cast who, she has a friend that's been supportive of her for a long time because, like I said, I don't think that she had that support in earlier seasons. So that's good. Angel's making matcha for her and Kay. She said that they're going to go hiking. And so, Bobby says that he's been chilling. He's tall, he's handsome. Like, I'm really happy for Angel. You can tell that they're happy, which again is rare on this show. I really truly hope that they can keep their marriage intact. I feel like once it's exposed to reality TV, not always, right? Because Wendy and Eddie are doing very well. But too often, the scrutiny of being on television is stressful and it strains people's marriages. But you can tell, like, when he gives her a kiss, he holds her booty. Like, I like stuff like that, just because you can tell the relationship is real and it's very close knit. Like, you can tell that they're not putting on for the cameras. Like, they both smiled after they kissed. You know what I mean? Stuff like that, as opposed to like Britt Eady and her husband, when he barely did ever touch her, which was never. And I'm not even talking about kissing and all that stuff. I'm just talking about like a hug. You could just tell that their relationship was just not one that was close. I'll say that. So they have Wonderland, which is their mountain company, and she says that they have they put their heart and soul into it. It's one in like Colorado, and they're bringing one to Maryland because that's where Angel's from, born and raised. So she said it's meditation and mindfulness retreats, and it's a big part of her life. So they're outside walking and hiking in the backyard and like a trail, and she said that she has her Angela fan. Shout out to the Angela fan. But they're fighting for their lives against the bugs out there. But they're just talking about, the girls and, Giselle and Um, just the relationship that they built. Like I said, I really feel like Kay, um, she is, just happy to have somebody on her side. Like she said, and Angel said, Angel says that Ashley was a bottle girl. She was her bottle girl. She's like, yeah, I can see that. Ashley gives bottle girl energy, and she does. She absolutely does give bottle girl energy. Um, but she says that when she was ready to go to Temple University, that Wendy was out the door because Wendy is older than her. So I don't know if that was shade or not. These women are so shady. Like, oh my gosh. Anyway, she says that they were at the NAACP Awards and that Wendy was really weird. Um, and I mean, I can see that, like Wendy probably was just doing her Dr. WendyOsefo to you, sweetie, thing. Like she was just being in her element, and she just doesn't necessarily feel the need to speak all the time. I don't know. Wendy gives me that. Like just she gives me that. I'll just say that. Um, because she doesn't. She says she didn't want to share a room with Kay. She doesn't. I don't know if she thinks that she's like above it or above her, but she's not close to her. To be honest, I don't think Wendy's close with any of these women on the show. Now that I think about it, the closest she may have been was Karen before Karen, left. Um, and it may have, a bit to do with her being Nigerian, because I feel like a lot of people in other parts of the world in the African diaspora are socialized to think that they should separate themselves from Black Americans. I don't know if her husband is Nigerian or if he's American or not, but that would make sense. So anyway, they get to Ashley's venue, and while everyone's setting up, she comes in and she hugs her glam squad, and she says that she's embracing this point in her life, like this is her second bloom. And people are asking, the producers are asking the ladies if they know what a second bloom ball is. No, because no one's ever heard of it before. That's something that Ashley's made up. Most people just say, I'm having a divorce party and, keep it moving. But not Ashley. She's happy about the payout and she wants to spend some of Michael's money. So she does. So Kiana's still talking about Wendy. I think like I said, like when people harp on something for a very long time, it really hurts them. And I feel like Wendy not embracing her or shading her really hurt Kay's feelings. Because if it were me and I had, a friend of mine on the show that's been my friend for the past 18 years, I wouldn't worry about Wendy or Giselle or any of the other ladies. If I had my, homegirl sitting there, it would just be me and her, ride or die. But that's me. So they all get to, oh, I'm sorry, they get to the event and we meet Tia. So Tia is Giselle's friend. She's from London. And she says that her family is part of the royal family in Nigeria. So she's a princess. She's asking for a tiara in the confessional. Um, we'll see. I don't know. I like Angel. I feel like she's real cool, down to earth. Like I said, she's happily married. You can tell her little girl was really cute. She's one. Tia, I'm not sold on just yet. But like I said, we'll see. We'll give her a chance. So we have Charisse there. Charisse is really trying to get that champagne flute back. And I feel like they should just go on ahead and give it to her because she's been the friend of forever. I don't know why they do like her and like Marlo. like that. Because I think they're going to bring, they brought back, are they going to bring back Cynthia full time? I think so. I think they said the next season, she got her peach back. But they need to just go ahead and bring Charisse on back. But anyway, so Giselle says she's happy to meet Angel. I feel like Angel doesn't suffer fools. So I could definitely see Angel calling Giselle to the carpet later on in the season. We'll see. We don't know, but I have a feeling that Angel she don't play that. But like I said, we'll see. Tia as well. Tia is somebody who I feel like she says later on in the season, she's like, don't let this accent fool you. Girl, the accent's not fooling anybody. Don't get me wrong, I do love a good, British accents. I love almost any accent in the world. No, almost, right? I don't like Russian and really harsh accents, but I won't think that I'm not socialized to believe that, or I might have been socialized, but I don't believe that just because you're from London or England, whatever, that you're prim and proper and posh, because just look at what Meghan Markle says. Some of them people overseas, over in the UK, are some of the grimiest people you'll ever meet on the face of the earth. So, and if you know anything about British history, that tracks. So, Tia thinking that everybody thinks that she's going to be a certain way because of her accent, that's not true. So Wendy hugs her and she says, that it's a familiar face. But she also gives the Mariah Carey shade where the producer is like, oh, you remember her? She's like, no, I don't know her. Which is the same thing. The Angel said that they're, I think, like 4 years apart. So that makes sense. But they come in these huge, huge dresses. I don't necessarily really like the dresses that Wendy and like the big poofy. I'm not a big, huge poofy dress girl, but again, that's me. I like more of a tailored style. The announcer says that Ashley's a duchess. And Stacey turns to Wendy. She's like, did she say duchess? Ashley's just doing the absolute most. She tries to come down the steps in her gown. That picture on the left. She can barely come down the stairs. That's what I'm saying. Stacey is a good one, because I'll be like, why are you worried about me and my divorce records? You can't even walk down the steps. But, they're like, why are you stopping? She's like, so you can admire my dress. No, baby, you're stopping because you can't walk down the steps in that huge dress. But anyway, she invites everybody to celebrate with her second bloom party. She says that her first sprout started when she became a beauty queen. And then she said that she was a philanthropist and entrepreneur and a restaurateur. And I'm thinking to myself, no, that's your ex-husband. But when you're married, you become one. So, I guess I get it. But girl, no, that was his money. But okay. But she said that she's ready for her second bloom. And she invites everybody to, party. So, and again, I wish that they would, focus on partying and having a good time instead of just always going for each other's necks all the time. But I get it, it's entertainment. That's what the ladies do on the Housewives shows. Charisse asked the lady in the champagne glass, what does she need to do to get that job? And she said gymnastics. She said, oh, that rules me out. Yeah, I wonder if she still has that champagne room that she designed. But anyway, all the ladies sit down, and Giselle says to Wendy that I inspired you with your dress. And she's like, no. It's similar, but not close enough. Giselle always wants people to kiss the ring. You know what I mean? She is so annoying with that. Just, I wish she could just be chill sometimes. You can tell, when people are really miserable in their lives. One thing I liked about Candace and I love about Wendy is even when that Eve reporter, when Wendy says when people are really happy in their lives and their marriages, they don't disparage others. And Candace turns her head and she says, "My God, today is a meme. It's one of my favorite gifts." But that's so real. Like, these ladies are absolutely miserable. And you can tell it just comes out of their pores. But anyway, Kay sits down with Wendy and she says that, she hurts her feelings, she hurt her feelings because Wendy, had different energy. And she says that, hold on, let me read it because I'm like, I'm I have to side with Wendy on this. Hold on. So they're texting back and forth, and she said it was a pleasure to have the K Stewart skin collection featured, the gift bags and celebrating strength and beauty. Um, and she says, okay, Kay's reaching. I don't know. I feel like it's deeper than what she is explaining here. She says that she was a speaker at the event, but she wanted Wendy to acknowledge her from the stage. And I have to agree with Wendy. When you're a speaker at an event, you wouldn't acknowledge somebody from the podium, right? You would acknowledge them before or afterwards. But Kay said no, she expected her to give her a shout out. Like, it's not a party, it's not a house party. Kiana, oh my gosh. She said if she sees her friend, she's going to wave to her in the crowd. And it's just like, I tried. But she really wants that validation and that acknowledgement from Dr. Wendy, and she's not getting it. I don't know. Yeah. So then she brings up the NAACP award. She says she's at the carpet, and then she asks her if she did her own makeup. And Wendy's like, I'm confused. Was that negative? And Kay's like, well, why would you say that? Would you say that to a friend? And Wendy's like, okay. Like, I don't think that would be, is that shady? That somebody would ask, did you do your own makeup? Because it looked nice. I don't know. I guess she thought she was trying to be shady. So that's what Wendy says, right? She's like, if you thought that I was trying to be hurtful, she apologizes. She says, I didn't necessarily mean it to be negative, but if that's how you felt, then I apologize and I hope that you can accept it. And Kay doesn't look like she's going to. These women are so hurt over the littlest thing. So they all come together, and Stacy, and Angela are there with Giselle and Ashley, and she's like, well, I could take a lot of things. I could take, if your breath stinks. So Stacy's like, oh, does my breath stink? And she starts blowing blowing on her. She starts blowing her breath on her. And Ashley's like, oh my goodness, like, Stacy, stop. So then they all start talking about how bad Stacy's breath is. Giselle says she thinks that it comes from her lower stomach. And I'm just like, Stacy, girl, just leave the show. Because at this point, I just feel like, I don't know if she has a humiliation kink or not, but these women, they don't see it for you. Like, they really don't. Stacy calls her and she wants to talk to her in private, but that doesn't work because, like I said, Ashley is so antagonistic. She just brings up, the divorce again, but she actually gets louder and louder and louder, like her voice and her volume increases to the point where she wants to escalate the situation. It's giving like, the typical, I can't even say, like, just like the little Annie, Karen, Becky with the good hair, like, just, she knows that she's privileged and she is weaponizing that over Stacy. She's a veteran on this show. She's smaller, she's lighter, it's her event. And so she's like, get out of here with your 11 shoes and gallop away. And she's like, making these back and forth, like she's jumping and she's just like carrying on. Stacy's just like standing there with her champagne flute And Ashley is just being, she calls her an imp, which she is. But Ashley's just amping up things, and she creates this scene so people come over. And she's like, people are trying to de-escalate the situation. They're asking what Ashley wants, which is attention. But Stacy, says that she's a messy devil. And Ashley says, well, you misrepresented yourself. And she says, and you are the devil. And that stops Ashley cold. And I mean, that's where it ends. It is what it is. Ashley is somebody who weaponizes her privilege. A lot of people do that, but you can tell that she learned. I don't know if she learned from Michael Darby, society, whatever, but Ashley gets on my nerves. She really does. So, the rest of, the season, I'm looking forward to. They give us little, tidbits. But Angel looks like she's, really fun. And Tia's talking about how she's knackered, and Giselle doesn't know what that means. She's like knickered. She's like knackered. Stacy's called weird, which she may be. She may, beat to her own steel drum, right? The ladies are beating the steel drums, but I mean, hey, it is what it is. And then Giselle picks up the mints. Again, they're talking about her breath. I'm just like, the issue is they said that she lied for a year, but yet they're always talking about like her breath and just attacking who she is as a person. And I'm just like, girl, either leave the show, or I would be like, okay, well, you know, call Dr. Heavenly, or, send me to the dentist or something. I don't know. Um, so then Tia says, don't let this accent fool you. Angel stands up and she says that I'm, the MFer. Um, and so they say that, Stacy's character is flawed. She's still lying. So then they say that Stacy's trying to get with Chris Samuels, which I don't blame her. If things don't work out with her husband, ex-husband, whoever, Chris Samuels, he looks great. And then Monique walks up. She's like, not my ex-husband. Well, Mo, listen, Stacy wasn't even on your season. So it's like, she's single, he's single. You're the one that chose to divorce Chris. You're the one who put him back out on the market. And why would you be upset that, Stacy wants to date a single, good-looking, available man? It doesn't make sense. But anyway, this season opener was entertaining. So I want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts? Please let me know in the comment section. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.